Hi, my name is Emmett Hunter. I play Gerard Duquette, and you are listening to Pod Against Evil.
And welcome to Pod Against Evil. Oh my goodness, guys. It is I'm not feeling too good for this one, but luckily we're doing the hospital episode, so I can get my my intensive care on. But who's feeling sick? Well, it's me, Nick the Merc with the mic, and my fellow Pod Against Evil co-host,
Travis,
the god of the pod himself, and of course, our constantly seems to be less and less special guest.
The less special guest.
Hey, everybody. I'm super special.
Well, honestly, this was I had an idea for this season to have like a multi-person, like 4 people guests, but we ended up just the scheduling did not work out for it. So, but you know, I just couldn't bear to do a Stand Against Evil episode without Les. It seems like we just have too much fun together. Like it's more of a compliment to Les than anything else.
Rather than insult to me,
rather than him being a last
everything
resort.
is a compliment. all insults to Travis, I take as compliments.
Yeah, that
seems like a Magic the Gathering card. I ought to tap for that or something.
That's how it works. Oh, and guys, if you would like to help insult Travis as well, you can show your love for the social media, because you know Travis hates that social media.
It's true.
Yeah, but you show your love for the podcast. If you want to follow us on our social media, you can do so at Pod Against Evil on Facebook. You can do it on Pod Against Evil at Pod Against Evil on Twitter or Instagram. Check out some of our pictures and stuff. We have some of the Nubbins puppets and Dr. Hoot and stuff like that, doing some fun, crazy stuff. This is the last batch of episode here, guys, for season 4. So always, make sure to share the love for Stand Against Evil on your social medias and share the hashtag Shovels Up for season 4 or hashtag Shovels Up. And of course, you can always show your support by buying some Stand Against Evil merch from shopagainstevil.com.
Which, do they have any new stuff out yet?
Yeah, well, they have the Werepony shit.
Yeah,
I know that they have the Werepony shirt finally. Although, in contention, it says that the shirt says the Werepony needs blood, which I think is not as funny as the pony needs blood, as the original line is, but I'll take what I can get.
They also have a Nubbin shirt.
I get them trying to make sure they get Werepony out there.
Sure.
But
the Werepony.
For line accuracy.
Yeah, I just think it's funnier if you don't explain the where part of it. I just think that
because the actual line.
Yeah, I love the actual line and it makes me smile. But
they also have the Nubbin shirt as well.
Yes, they keep it in the family shirt, which is that's a shirt you should get for your whole family.
Yeah, this one just says the Nubbins, so.
Yeah, you seem like a real Kathy, Convoy Kathy. Here, you take this shirt. Oh, man, I hate for whoever's the jive turkey of your group. Who's the most racially insensitive?
Just a silhouette of jive turkey and the big block letters. It was the 70s.
It was the 70s. You can't go too hard on us there. Come on. Oh boy. But yes, today's episode, guys, is Intensive Scare Unit. This is episode 307.
I see what you did there.
No, I see. Oh no. Are we starting early with these fucking hospital puns?
Of course.
Okay, well...
it's going to be a long episode.
God damn it. That was good. Shit. Now I feel like I should think up of one, but I've lost it. I'm flatlining here. I got nothing. There, are we all done? We all got one.
Needle you, but...
Guys, this is so interesting for me because I think we rarely get to see John C. McGinley in such a clinical environment as a hospital. I can't imagine another series which might feature him in such a scary clinical setting.
That he might even reference himself in this episode.
Yeah, if you thought they were going to let that reference go, nope. But yes, this is... I don't know, like, this is a really interesting episode to me as far as it seems to me, it's always the penultimate episode and the final episode that really start to move the plot forward with Stand Against Evil. Mm-hmm. And this one has a real big, game-changing aspect to it that we'll get to. But I thought it was, as far as actually intense episodes, intensive scare unit, it does provide what I feel is like the most intense episode for me.
Yeah.
But I find hospitals inherently scary as well. So as far as like the rest of the season has been just so funny, like so funny. But this one I think might actually be the actually spookiest and or like creepiest.
Mm-hmm. No, it definitely takes itself a lot more serious than the other episodes do.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, anyway, I think we should get started here. And what better way to start than in said hospital, where Stan is, he's wandering the halls of said hospital, and he hears Gerard Duquette making the deal with him with what was it, from episode 1 of season 3, where he's like the deal with finding a bigger evil and letting a little in, is the line that he hears repeated, and he sees Horace down a hallway. Now, I know we've mentioned it before, but it's been a long time since we've seen Horace. Holy shit, Horace is a cool design.
It is cool.
He's so fucking badass. Like, and now we get to see him up close, and he's got the glowing eyes. It's just great.
Not just the eyes; they've got they're not quite insect eyes, but like the multiple holes through the skull where the eyes glow in like several pieces. I love that.
He has like a skull, but the eye sockets aren't fully disconnected. Like there's there's webbing of bone over the eyes.
Right.
That is really cool. I like it. I don't think I've ever seen.
So it gives him like an arachnid kind of skull thing going. It's creepy.
Yeah. Very inhuman. I like it. And he is still possessed. What's her name?
Judy. Come on, she has a secret.
Judy. Well, not anymore. Everything's kind of out in the open with Judy. Judy is like, oh, I'm looking for a new body. Don't get me wrong, Judy's great and everything, but apparently, I think it's kind of do you think it's like a deal where he's like burning through the body?
Could be.
Or was Judy not a fit vessel for him? Do you think?
They don't really go into it.
Yeah, I think it's a preferred vessel or best vessel. I mean, I feel like I bring up Supernatural every season, but or every episode, but like that's at least how they play it on that show. Like as far as established shorthand language, your audience might already know. That's not too out there of a concept of like right. Horace has his best vessel, Stan, and then Horace can take any number of other people that are gonna burn out.
Right. Yeah.
And he might even just need, because at least Gerard Duquette's whole goal is to kill Eccles. Maybe he just needs a host that's closer to Eccles.
Okay. Yeah, I got you. Yeah, he's more, as a previous sheriff, he's more strategically placed.
Or just
well, they mentioned that later, that it took something to Stan particularly to bring out the power used later against Eccles, as we see later on in the season.
Yes. So I'm very curious as to the reasonings behind Duquette's plan. We get a little bit more revealed this episode, but it's very vague, this vendetta that Duquette seems to have. So I find that very interesting. Anyway, it turns out that Stan is a little skeptical of this deal that Horace is offering. Horace wants to possess Stan, and he promises him power enough to take out Eccles once and for all. And that's a pretty tempting offer for Stan. Stan does say, well, I basically already been doing that, though. And I love Horace
he didn't take that well.
You're doing a shitty job of it.
The line is so good.
I don't know what it is, but this really creepy demon, just using like before when he was don't get me wrong, she's great. Or you're doing a real shit job, man.
It's just so humanizing.
Yeah,
just dropping into the vernacular is awesome.
It's just it's fun. It makes Horace feel like a real person to me. Demon, whatever. He's really fun. I like him. And yeah, so he tells Stan to think on it. Give it a good old mull it around a little bit, because honestly, how long can they keep getting by on the skin of their teeth with these run-ins with the witches? And it turns out Stan has been dreaming, because Denise wakes him up and
reminds him he has to go to the doctor.
You have your thingy where they check your doodad, so you don't get the yikes up your hello.
That's right.
I remember the last part specifically. It's just a very Denise thing.
And I love Stan's response, too, of just, I guess the doctor said I wasn't getting enough shame. And so that's great. We cut to the hospital where we get the nurse giving him some anesthetic.
Which, that nurse looks creepy.
The nurse is played by Maria Bamford.
Not as creepy as later.
Yeah, and
Thought I
Maria
recognized her.
Yes, Maria Bamford is playing, what's her name? Nurse, damn it.
Is it Nurse Cheryl?
I can't remember now. But it's, this is just some previous, voice acting. She's a prolific voice actor. And, it's an Avatar crossover today because she actually played Pema on Legend of Korra, along with Janet Varney in the title role. So that was, interesting. She also, I was looking up her IMDb, and she actually has both her parents are doctors, and her sister is a doctor.
So she was born for this nurse role.
The role she was born to play.
Have you seen Lady Dynamite?
I have not seen Lady Dynamite. Is she in that?
That's Bamford's series. Yeah, that's her series.
Oh,
I've
not seen it, but I've heard about it. Yes. Okay,
yeah.
I got you. Yes. All right.
I'm remembering right.
So, I love.
Hopefully
I love
I'm not
the bedside.
way wrong on that. Maybe I'm completely wrong on that.
She is in that,
No, I'm right.
in that show.
Yes.
Lady Dynamite?
No,
Yes.
that is her show. Yeah.
It is? Okay. Just want to make sure we don't want to miscredit anybody.
I was like, wait, no, I'm right. Okay, cool. Carry on.
Yeah, so I love the bedside manner of the nurse.
Yes.
It's
Really, all the doctors in Willard's Mill or in Shadowham County.
Yeah. Man, it's hard to put my finger on exactly what bothers me about Maria Bamford's performance here, or what I find so unsettling about it. But it's like the lilt of her voice and how she how much she violates personal space, I guess.
And just the fact that she's just got that smile on her face that just kind of stretches her face out at like all times.
Like in the way she talks.
Mr. Miller, how are you?
There's something like
it's just off-putting.
Yeah, like she just seems off. And so she's wondering like, so once this takes effect, we're going to get you right in for the operation. And Stan is like, well, I don't feel anything, which reminds me, your family, where's your family spending Shark Week?
Yes. And the important holiday questions.
And the nurse has no idea how to even react to that.
Well, it's almost as crazy as what he says next, which is, and you can jump in my pouch and keep your brother warm.
And he's talking like the empty chair next to him.
It's like, whoa.
All right, patient 4's ready.
Yeah, the nurse does not miss a beat. She's like, all right, patient 4 is ready.
I was going to have you count backward from 10, but I think we're good.
Yep.
Yeah. And he's like, Oscar lives in a trash can and no one cares. No one cares about the Grouch. So, speaking as a guy who has a low drug tolerance, I did have my wisdom teeth taken out. And I had a very, very similar experience with hospital quality anesthetic and drugs.
Something about ducks, I remember.
Yeah, I saw a duck in the waiting room chair as I was being carried out because I had to be carried out by two nurses because I forgot how to walk. I couldn't walk anymore. And I remember distinctly seeing a duck in the waiting room. And so here's how my brain operated. I was like, okay, I'm like 90% sure that duck is not there and I'm just seeing things. But also, I didn't want to get bit by a duck. Like, because then I'm the idiot that got bit by a duck when it was so obviously there and I was going to walk by it. So
that's fair.
So I decided that the logical thing was to ask the nurse, hey, is there a duck in that chair? And to her credit, she was like, no, honey, there's no duck in that chair. Got it. Cool. Okay, so I'm fucked up. And I remember afterwards, after I came down from it, because I was just sitting there. My eyes hurt so bad, and it was because I didn't blink for like the last half hour. My eyes were just so wide open, and I couldn't blink. It was.
Oh, that's great.
It was a really weird experience, and but also I got to have Vicodin after that, which was a way funner drug. That is also should not be abused. In fact, I shouldn't even call it fun.
No, you really shouldn't.
But it was easier to handle, let's say. So yeah, I really connected with Stan in this moment where he's yelling about Oscar and telling people to get into his pouch. But yeah, where do we transition to next?
I believe we transitioned to Denise in the waiting room.
Oh, yes. And what did she read?
Yes.
Reading the Waiting Room magazine.
Waiting Room
And
Monthly.
the cover and back cover ad, like the cover and background photos, are that waiting room, and
Yep.
that sign, that lamp, that couch, all of it. Like,
And I believe-
well, and plus there's an ad on the back of the magazine where you can get the Waiting Room Monthly on VHS.
Mm-hmm. It's
And I believe the front of the page says, "Aren't we all in a giant waiting room?"
a philosophical
I
discussion.
really can't believe they didn't make a no exit reference or a Sartre. Hell is other people. Hell's a waiting room.
So, guys, we've been watching the magazine background gags
The magazines
for a while.
on this,
Because
yeah,
they're fantastic.
I want the whole set.
And
I
think
I
we-
would subscribe to everything the door-to-door kid in Willard's Mill brings around on the little sheet.
I'll take one copy of Divorced Female Monthly, Female Sheriff Monthly. I'll take another
There's
copy of Buckets and Pails.
Ooh, is that the newest
believe there's
Essential Hobo?
There's
I'll
also
take that.
Lonely Sheriff. I think there's also Lonely Sheriff Monthly or Bored Sheriff Monthly, one of the two.
Ooh, this is the trash swimsuit edition. Nice.
Buckets.
So I think we've reached peak magazine gag here with Waiting Room Monthly. This is like not only were you mentioned it's the world's #1 magazine now on video showing a VHS tape, and the are we all in a giant waiting room, a philosophical discussion. And it also has how to choose your seat.
It's
You're gonna
important.
be here a while.
So like there's art. Oh man, I can't tell you guys how much I want one of these, and I want it to be filled with just like whatever they had on set. I want to know what people are reading in there. Like it's so, man, it's so good. I love this little world building of this just crazy little just world where not only are magazines seem to be a thriving industry, but you can have like it's like how podcasts nicheified in the last 5 years. This is what magazines have done in this universe of just gotten so specific.
I wonder what the gossip magazines look like.
I couldn't even begin to tell you. So while she is reading her magazine, the doctor, Stan's doctor comes out, Dr. Barlow, who is an actor that I definitely recognize, but I can't place.
Really? Are you sure he doesn't just look like our high school communications teacher?
Holy shit! Man, this is going to be inside baseball for anyone that didn't go to high school with us. But yeah, he does look like him. Holy crap! But no, I definitely recognized this guy before. But again, we're recording this beforehand, and I don't have access to the.
Curse you, IMDb, for not future referencing things.
Yes, so
They do have Nurse Evans on there, Jill Savelle.
Yes,
Who there's always a background character in every episode of Stand Against Evil that just steals it for me with their performance, like the doctor we saw a few episodes back that well, no, I shouldn't even joke about that. Like that just walked away with it. Jill Savelle just steals this. Her reactions to the doctor trying to tell Denise things, also just this doctor. But her reactions and her timing on this stuff, like telling Denise she likes her top, and all, it steals the scene for me.
yes, and we're going to talk about Nurse Evans in a bit because man, she was
great.
awesome. She was great in this. So, yeah, I also love Dr. Barlow coming in where he's explains Stan is I forget how he
Well,
puts
he
it. It's
he asks Denise, "Is your father in any way prone to comas?"
prone to comas. Or did he have any
Or a
pre-anesthetic?
coma-like state.
Coma-like state.
What's the difference? Well, one is 3 words, takes longer to say.
Yeah.
And also the fact that in a coma, you usually don't have brain activity, whereas Stan's brain activity is off the charts.
That's right.
Yes. Because Stan is in a kind of a dream world state we see him in, is he has been transported into, I assume, another demon world. We'll get a little more context for it later, but this isn't our first time, going into a demon or another realm.
Well, we already know
show.
how to solve it. I don't know why it's such a problem. This one, you kill yourself, right?
Yeah,
Right?
This is what I love, that this was finally one time where that wasn't the solution. Like that was like,
I'm
okay.
still astonished nobody tried this yet. Like, that's kind of what I've been waiting for. Like, you can't get used to this being the answer, or at some point one of you is going to go, "I've got it."
Right.
Crack.
Right.
No, man, that's not it this time. Jesus.
Yeah. Before we get to the dreamlike state, though, the nurse does show up.
Yes. And she shows up, Nurse Evans, played by, what's her name?
Jill Sable.
Jill Sable. And she is great. She's like, "Doctor, you're needed. Well, why is it urgent? Well, remember when I told you it was urgent, if it was urgent to come and get you and act casual about it?" And like,
He just stares at her.
he stares at her for so long. It's so long.
With her, like, kind of trying to keep, like,
Yeah. And that's where she's like, Denise, where she does compliment Denise, like, I like your top. Like, before she leaves the scene. Yeah, real good work here by Jill Saville. It was, I'm not sure what's, like, she only has a couple lines, but she really nails them in this episode, and has a great chemistry with Dr. Barlow and Denise. So then we see Stan in the hospital demon realm, I guess. It's basically just a trashed hospital.
Right.
Like, it's just a hospital room, like a bunch of hospital rooms and hallways.
With a green-gray filter.
Yeah, that are like, and the lights are flickering. Not unlike a haunted house, like you would see. And we see the nurse has strapped him down. I forget what she tells him. Like, don't worry, everything is fine. We just have a virus outbreak with a hint of quarantine. And so Stan has to stay here. And we hear screaming in the background, and she yells like,
well, no, first she promises, like, get him some ice cream.
right, yes.
And then, like, then there's more screaming, and then she says her line.
Oh, yeah. And so she screams,
I'm gonna cut you up! Fatty!
"Fatty!" And she screams "Fatty" a couple times in the episode.
Yes, you hear her, like, in the background, ADR'd.
And we never really see an obese person that she's yelling at, unless you count the orderly, but the orderly seems cool with her. Like, so I'm fascinated why she's yelling this. And we do see an orderly and later where she leaves, and she's like, "Oh, orderly, help this man." And this man who seems to be another trapped soul or patient, and the orderly helps him by knocking his ass out
And, like, dragging him down the hall.
Yeah, well, this orderly is huge.
He's a big dude.
Yeah, and he later we'll even see him a little up close and personal, and he's even creepier than, or even scarier than we might have first thought. And yeah, so Stan,
He has the realization that she's not getting him ice cream.
right? Which I was like, there's no ice cream. I love how he was really disappointed. Like, he was hoping for ice cream.
Yeah.
I was like,
Ice cream's good.
and I love this effect where he pulls off the what do you call it? The sticker that is like on the EKG or
the whatever the nodes that are on him.
Yeah. And like that,
and it's got like a creepy '80s monster vibe going.
Yeah, that was awesome. I loved that. Like, that was really cool. That reminded me. That was very Evil Dead to me. Of like a creepy little mouth monster.
Yeah.
And
though I had a moment of like, I really hope Stan understands, like, at this point, you're in Dream Demon World, right? Like, I'm glad that there was no wasting time with, like, Stan thinking he's in the normal world or anything. Like he just rolls with it, like, oh, no, I know where I am. Everything's all topsy-turvy here. Let's go kick some demon ass.
Oh, yeah, he's right on top of it. And, the Nightmare Orderly is played by Mac Wells as well, as the giant orderly. And so we cut back to Denise out in the real world, and I forget what she is. She is discussing.
I believe she's calling Evie at this point.
Yeah, she's calling Evie, calling reinforcements, and
I love this because she's like, there's no voice on the other end, which is unfortunate because I know Les's favorite thing is the phone voice.
Yeah,
but we do get like her like, it's like, no, it's like, come down to the hospital. No, he's not causing a scene. Like, that's the first thing Evie asks is if Stan is causing a scene at the hospital. Like, nope, not this time. He's in a coma. Mm-hmm. Then she literally tells her to get her cop ass down here.
I did like that. Like, cop ass down here.
She's a little excited. She's like, ooh,
I like that. I'm being assertive. she tries it again on the nurse.
Hey, nurse! I'm sorry. I thought you worked here.
Yeah, Denise finding her spine is terrifying and amazing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, we cut back to Stan in a creepy, light flickering hallway. He sees a small girl run across the hallway there, tries to chase after her, give chase, but he runs into the Nightmare Orderly. And it turns out this guy's got the see no evil, speak no evil thing going on, where his eyes and mouth are sewn shut. And I love how Stan is just like, crap, that's not great. like he does it. He has the shorthand for like creepy. Yeah. So yeah, he gets knocked out here, which a pretty good hit.
Yep.
That Stan gets, and it's so good it affects him in the real world. Which Dr. Barlow's like, what the fuck is going on here? Because he starts to bleed from the head in the real world,
and immediately
I love
tries
that the wound just opens, and yeah,
he tries to call the time of death, and just like the nurse has to be the one being like, no, he's not dead. Well, I don't know what's going on.
Come on.
Well, and I love his next reaction. It was like, oh, well then you know what? It's late. We should hit this fresh in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Super incompetent. Like, I really do worry about Willard's Mill.
He's going to relieve the pressure from the wound by making a small incision all the way around the head.
So
is that a normal thing? Yes.
Between all the demon attacks and the hospital care and what seems to be the psychiatric ward, if that was in fact a real place and not just the
hellscape,
how are people still living here? Like, it is
Shadowham County's their death mortality rate has to be off the charts.
Just crazy. Like, it just like Bon Tom levels of mortality. Like, just maybe that's why there's so few people. We see so few people in the town. Like, just there's so rarely any crowd shots. So
the only people who are living there have at least died once.
Yeah. So I love that we see the wound as well, because that's always good at establishing stakes on what's happening and what's real. And so I don't think they even explain it in the episode, but I inferred like that you immediately infer like, oh, if he dies in the dream state, he dies in real life. Like, he is in mortal peril even though it is a dream. So I like that little nod of continuity without having to over-explain it. Just real good visual shorthand. And we cut back to Evie coming in for the save. She has this lightning bolt drawn across her face.
Like, I thought she came from like a sport event or something. But no.
See, this was great because this put to rest a mystery I've had for like 6 months. When back when they were shooting the season 3, Janet Varney put up a picture on her Instagram of her in this makeup.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I was like, is there a David Bowie episode of Stand Against Evil? Like, I could not think of where the David Bowie thing would come into it. So apparently it comes into it with her scrapbooking club, her David Bowie scrapbooking club.
Which is just her alone at home, like all her clubs.
So
it's like a throwaway line, but it's so sad.
And Denise wants in this club. I love that they know each other. They're like one of the only 3 people each of them know, or 5 people tops. And Denise would kill to be in this club. And Evie is lonely, alone in this club. But it's still not going to, it's still not going to click to invite Denise to Scrapbook.
No.
Like, I was shocked that they were watching Vampire Creek together still.
Well, I mean, the Evie's hobbies reek of desperation and loneliness.
Yeah.
It was bad enough with Vampire Creek where she was super into werewolf tail penis or whatever the fuck that was. And now, can you imagine at home alone painting your face while I assume shedding a couple tears and drinking some wine?
Nick, I don't know what you're talking about alone. She has her daughter.
Well, oh, right. I forgot.
Great, right? I got it right?
You got it right? Oh my god.
I got it right.
Travis remembered her name. Travis, it is, you don't realize this, but it was actually, that's like the secret word on Pee-wee's Playhouse. You have won Pod Against Evil.
Yay!
You've won the podcast. It's over, guys. It's done. We have a winner. And Grace does exist in this episode.
No, she doesn't.
Maybe. We don't know. She can't, you know what? Evie's so unpopular, she can't even get her daughter to join the clubs with her. But yeah, it's a sad picture painted here. Not only is her face painted, her life is painted in a picture for us. It is depressing.
I do love her argument. For just a moment, she's like, yeah, I'll go wash my face. Unless, and Denise is like, no, the lightning bolt will not help your argument. Whatever you're about to go talk to the doctors about, no.
I think she was going to invite them to the club. That's what I think.
I would argue that. I think she should have left the lightning bolt on.
Mm-hmm. Well,
gone the power of Bowie.
It's funny you should mention that because we have a special guest for this episode. One, Robert Cohen, director of Season 3 of Stand Against Evil. And I posed him just that same question in our interview of what she was going to ask the doctors. And let's see what he thinks she was going to ask him in our interview. And welcome back to Pod Against Evil, episode 7 of Season 3. I am excited to have Robert Cohen back on the pod. Robert, say hi.
How's it going?
So yes, the director behind all of Season 3 and a good chunk, I think half of Season 2 as well. We've had him on before for an interview, and he was kind enough to come on for this episode to talk a little bit about it. So this is Intensive Scare Unit. A very intense episode.
Yeah.
And I want to ask you a couple questions in regards to some of the questions I have about the scenes here in the show, because I love the way this episode is shot in the evil hospital universe, basically.
Right.
Of of where Stan is. And it's I just want to know what the mindset was in the shooting of this, because the lighting, the angles of the shot, there's almost no shot with Stan that's on a straight angle. It's always tilted a little bit and off kilter. A lot of close ups. I was just wondering, I got a feeling of a spook house claustrophobia, when I used to work back in a haunted house. And I was wondering what the mindset you were going for, or you guys were going for there.
Yeah, you're exactly right. We, when Dana gave me the script for that one and we talked about it, we wanted everything to feel off kilter. And so what I did with Tim Burton, our amazing DP, is we went and looked at the hospital, and I was talking to him about the colors that I saw for the episode, and I saw a lot of sort of greens and blacks and blues, and green sometimes is associated with hospital, but I also wanted to just feel totally off, like a weird green and just strange colors. And so having it off axis made it feel disorienting. because Stan is so disoriented in the hospital. And so we needed to have a real hospital bit of the show and then the crazy hospital. So we shot it at the same hospital, but just designed the shots to look really spooky and weird and make it feel surreal. And the other thing that we got really lucky with in the hospital we filmed in, it was abandoned, but a lot of the lights worked and a lot of the lights didn't work. And so we made that kind of work for us where there's a scene where Maria Bamford is standing in one place, and I won't say too much about it, but we were able to get into the hospital lighting system and activate them on and off and found a perfect spot for her to stand where it would help a little magic trick. And so we just, utilized what was there and wanted it to feel very different than a Stan episode and have it feel like you said, like a spook house.
Yeah, I know the scene you're talking about, the hallway sequence with her. That was very, very cool, very intimidating. I also like the sequence with the orderly that has his mouth and eyes sewn shut.
Yeah.
Very, very disturbing. I love it when Stan wakes up. He calls him like, "Oh, hey, Dr. Cox." So I knew there would be a Scrub reference there in the episode. And I was wondering like how was that a discussion amongst the crew of like, okay, we got to at least do one, or like how since we have John C. McGinley in a hospital, was there like a temptation to do more with that, or was that kind of like no, we'll do one and then kind of leave it alone?
I will give John full credit for that. That was him on the day just making it up, and so that's all to his credit, and he just threw it in there.
Oh, fantastic!
Yeah, we're not that smart.
That does seem like a John improv line of like that. That seems funny.
He improvises stuff all the time, and he threw that in there when we were doing different takes. And I just thought it was great because obviously it's a Scrubs reference, but it just was, Stan's attitude perfectly in that situation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I also love him strapped down on the table with the nurse like intimidating him, like a lot of really just like really close shots. Like it feels like we're in the room with him. So I just really like how that room is set up. That's
all like a real abandoned hospital that we were able to sort of manipulate to work with us.
And hospitals are inherently scary, or at least I think so. So that helps.
Yeah, we're not even going to discuss what was in the basement of this hospital, but it was pretty insane.
Ugh.
Yeah.
You don't want to go down there.
Yeah, we did. It was bad.
You don't want to put the cadavers down there. They come back different.
Exactly.
I also love the relationship with Stan and this little girl in the episode.
Yeah.
Like the motivation here to give Stan something to really fight for. What was that like? Trying to get this relationship across very quickly amongst Stan so that he's willing to sacrifice everything at the end for this child that he barely knows. What was the strategy there of trying to get those scenes to accomplish as much as they could with very little time?
I think the actress's name was Mabel. She was a really cool, smart young lady and very good actress, and was just really fun and smart. And her mom was really cool. And we sort of took Dana and I talked a lot about this, but it was sort of Newt in Aliens. We wanted to do a little homage to Ripley and Newt. And so she was kind of our Newt in this situation. And we styled her to look a little bit like Newt in the movie. And, she's kind of the bait and not the problem, but she's sort of keeping Stan there, but also getting him deeper into trouble. So she was just awesome. Really, really great actress.
Man, that's really great. I can't tell you how much I enjoy that relationship, and this. I did want to also mention, because I have a lingering question, and I'm not sure if you know this, because when Denise and Evie first, or when Evie, I should say, first arrives to the hospital, she's wearing this David Bowie lightning, pink lightning scar across her face, and I love this. I think it was like the third or fourth Bowie reference we've had in the show. So I as a fan, I appreciate it. And I was wondering, because Evie says Denise is like, oh, you shouldn't go in there, your face. And she's like, oh, right. I'll wash it off. Unless, and it's like, no. I was wondering, what was her strategy there? Just to go in there and pretend to be David Bowie? Or what was the exact, unless this thing? Or was there a...
I think she thought that she could go in there and people would think it was cool. And so, she does her clubs by herself at her house. And so she was sort of thinking, well, maybe other people will like this and maybe I will have some friends to do it. But it's so fast. It's just she kind of is looking for people to validate her strange clubs. But it was, just like a quick throwaway joke.
No, so it's more like Matt Damon in Ocean's 13. Does the nose play? Does the nose play?
Exactly.
Exactly. No, it does not. Oh, darn it. No.
Yeah.
I love that. I also love this nurse, because or I should say not the evil nurse, the nurse in the real world. Of course our befuddling doctor is funny enough, but I love this deadpan nurse. Yes. And I love this deadpan nurse. As soon as the gun comes out, it's like, I'm just going to take a walk on out of here. This seems like a problem.
Yep. Yep, exactly. That's Jill Saville, and she had worked on the show last season and this season, and we just thought she'd done a great job, and so we threw her in there as a nurse.
Yeah, it's a fantastic. I love it's not a big role, but I really like the timing of it. Yeah. Of just the walk. Yeah. It's just really funny to me. I also love the Weekend at Bernie's reference.
There's so many references in this.
With getting Stan out of the thing, and of course they run into the one person that might actually the routine might actually work on, which is drink water.
Yep.
And
exactly.
I wanted to ask you this one thing. There's this scene where Nate Mooney, where they're trying to trick him with a car, and he's in his chair and he's drinking this lemonade, and he's got a speed gun, and he, correct me if I'm wrong, he's trying to figure out how fast the liquid is going up the straw.
I'm glad somebody noticed that. We were set up in this little town to shoot that, and we had a bunch of props. And because Nate's just sitting there, I wanted him to do something sort of comedic because he's so funny at it. So I saw we had a radar gun and some crazy straws and a bunch of stuff. So I just asked him if he could be tracking the speed of the drink through his crazy straw. And so I wanted him to do something funny at the top of the scene. So having him just sit there, curious about how fast he can drink the liquid through a crazy straw with a radar gun just seemed like a good joke that Nate would be perfect for.
That's really funny. I really like it, and I feel like Nate Mooney sells a joke can really sell a joke like that for whatever reason of this.
Oh, he's so good.
His body language while he's checking it is it's really fun of trying to get the exact right angle and being real into it. I find it very, very compelling for whatever reason.
Yeah, he's so good with those things, and he's just he's a great physical comedian, but he's also just great with expressions. And so, again, you have somebody who's sitting in a chair, they can't really do that much. But I just love the joy that Leon gets out of weird stuff like that.
Yeah, I appreciate it as well. Well, before we get back to our regular scheduled programming, I wanted to ask if there was a favorite scene in here for you that was a particular favorite for you to work on, or if there was a particularly tough scene that you might have had a hard time. Maybe you had to find a creative solution for something.
In that episode?
Yeah, in episode 7 of season 3. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I would definitely say the end. You've seen the episode?
I've seen the episode.
I'd say the ending in what we were calling the bear room was definitely the most challenging, because we were stuck in the hospital, and we sort of had to create like a limbo room in the hospital with the rooms that were available, because we couldn't build another room. And the only one that could work was this room that was really tiny and had a lot of physical limitations. And so we had to sort of take a flyer on creating a very important climax to that episode in this room that is very, very small. And if you look at it, it is physically challenging. So I would say that was, as far as the hospital, that was by far the one that nobody was really looking forward to that part. But I think ultimately we were able to make it work with some creative solutions. And it was just so small. You have actors like right next to one another, but you want to give a sense of space. So we just worked our way through it. But I think the rest of the hospital was great. You know, we had old equipment we could use, and crazy hallways, and we rigged up some spooky gurneys, and the rest of it was pretty easy. It was just that one room at the end was really tough.
Well, I think it was well worth it. I think a very intense final scene for an intense episode with some big consequences at the end. So I'm excited to get to the finale. So with that, we'll cut back to our regularly scheduled programming. Thank you so much, Rob. I'm looking forward to having you on again for season 4. Hashtag shovels up.
I hope we get a season 4. We would be so lucky to be able to get a season 4. It's a great group of people, and I hope people like season 3, and it would be amazing.
May the owls abide, man. I know they don't abide puzzles, but maybe they'll abide some rating spikes. Let's go.
Yeah. Those puzzles are great.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us, and we will get back to our regular scheduled programming right after this. And welcome back to Pod Against Evil. I hope you enjoyed that interview with Robert. It was a great time talking with him. Always a funny guy, a great comedian and director. He's the funniest Canadian I know. But then again, and that's saying a lot. Like us Wisconsinites,
we're South Canada.
Yeah, we're basically Canadians almost by birthright. Like we're halfway there. Yes, back to the episode. After Evie has arrived in her David Bowie makeup, and I assume going to wash it off, she's going to do that. What is Stan doing? Why, he is on the gurney. He's on the table with our friend the orderly, and it does not look like things are about to go well for him. And so here is where everyone is rewarded for their Scrubs watching, because he wakes up and is like, oh, well, looky here, Dr. Cox. That takes on a much dirtier connotation if you assume that in this world there is no Scrubs that he's making reference to, then he's calling him like Dr. Dick.
Yeah, but also it could just be a Stanism too, because it's not like he uses like normal people references anyway.
Mm-hmm. And he is saved by a scream out in the hallway, in which Stan responds,
Better go check that out, Doc. Get to the bottom of that. When you find the culprit, call him a girl's name.
Which was funny. I would have loved a special cameo by Zach Braff. Like, that would have been fucking fantastic.
Just him screaming in the background.
You know what? They could have. Maybe they would have gotten copyrighted. But he screams all the time in Scrubs, right?
Yeah.
Where he's like, "Ooh," or something. They could have grabbed one of those, right?
Probably.
But yeah, he is saved by the little girl he saw earlier, and he's like, "Oh, well, you're a smart one. How do we get out of here?" And she goes like, "Well, we can't get out. There's no way out of here." And she explains she's been everywhere in this freaky hospital and she's never found a way out. The only place she's never been is the basement. like, well, what's in the basement? I don't know. Anyone who goes there never comes back.
You do realize
Yes, because that would be leaving. That's called leaving.
Yes.
That's how leaving works. If you find the exit, it's like, why? It's always in the last place you look. Yes, because you stop looking when you find it. Like,
I'm glad you were as enraged by this as I was.
Because they're gone. I was like, what the fuck? Also, I mean, this is why, children may be our future, but they're dumb right now.
Yeah.
Oh, man. This is great. So...
It's awful, children.
So I love this, too, where Stan's like, well, you want to go to the basement? No, man, me neither. Let's get out of here.
Let's go.
And he's like, I love the fact it's like, yeah, well, it's basically our only option, so we're going to take it. And then he proceeds to describe the hospital.
What if this place is all topsy-turvy, like in the Poseidon Adventure, and the basement is really the attic?
It's not.
Okay. Then what we have here is an upside-down Poseidon Adventure, where everything is actually exactly where it should be. That's brilliant. Come on.
Yeah,
I love that Stan has made working your way to being right an art form.
Oh, yeah.
It is like, no matter what he says, he can make it to where he was the one that was actually correct. Like, people just don't use tires anymore. I read it in an article, all right? Like, it was just, it's a thing. Like, and
just so you know, that tire thing's not out of the blue.
Yeah, just I have evidence. I backed up my statement up, all right? And before we leave this scene, we see the nurse behind them as Maria Bamford is standing in the hallway here, and she has this. We see a couple flickers with her until we see a giant smile on her face, like this big makeup smile. And
man, the makeup on this is so good.
Makeup is crazy, and also I can see in her neck muscles that she is straining, smiling underneath the makeup.
Yeah.
So like,
it makes it all the way up into her eyes. Like
yes.
It's her whole, like, Bamford sells this makeup in a way, like, she doesn't just, they painted a creepy thing on me, I'll just let that do the heavy lifting. No, she sells this thing. That smile is unnerving. And every time it appeared, I was like, bravo.
Yeah, you can see the tendons in her neck working overtime to like just be, and she's almost like slightly shaking a little bit. Like she is insane smiling underneath that makeup. So I love that a little attention to detail. So it really sold it for me that it wasn't just like a makeup effect.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the doctors out in the real world still are stumped by Stan's condition. Dr. Barlow thinks him like, unless we're sharing some sort of shared hallucination, some sort of magical beverage that we're all imbibing.
I mean,
no. It's like,
in
no.
fairness, that guy was going to be stumped by a revolving door. He's stumped by everything.
I love that. Like, it's like, no, none of us are drunk. Oh, I was actually talking about this rubbing alcohol. Like, it's some good shit right here. Like, it's almost as good as the embalming fluid. I have a problem. So yeah, Evie explains like, yeah, I'm the sheriff, so I really need this taken care of,
and no one should be drunk here.
No one should be drunk here. Describe to me what your plan is here. Well, I want to alleviate some of the swelling here, and so I'm going to cut open. I'm going to make a small incision all the way around his head, and then I was like, well, and then what? Well, then have you ever seen like a clam, like a clam head?
How clams talk?
Like, yeah, like how clams talk, like, which I'm just like, who is this guy? Who is here?
Is this a normal procedure? Yes.
And how many malpractice suits are currently being held against this doctor? Like, I really legitimately want to know. And
who's the one lawyer in Willard's Mill? I mean, is it just Bill Murray from Wild Things? Like.
I love this doctor's like just baffling. As soon as he's slightly stumped, he wants to take it to a cartoonish level here, and then he's all mad when they bring up the paranormal.
Right? It's like it's not normal. Something close to normal, like paranormal.
Paranormal.
Whenever people use air quotes.
Yeah. It's like, hey, that's when, whenever people use air quotes and talk about stuff like paranormal, and then I forget what he says after that because he's interrupted by Denise. Because Denise pulls a gun.
Winning Evie's purse.
It's like, all right, everyone shut up. And I love the doctor is still doing the finger quotes, so he finger quotes, oh shit. Like,
no, like the best part in this whole entire episode is just the next scene where like the nurse just goes,
I'll go check on that coffee.
And just walks off the scene.
Wow. Owning it. Loved that.
Yes. Sable just owns it.
Like right after the oh shit line, it's like just the nurse was like, I'm just gonna go check on that coffee. She just slides out of there, like I love the sly move there of just getting the fuck out of there when the getting's good. Like, this is obviously not my problem, so I'm gonna leave you to it. And I don't think we see her again after this scene.
No, I don't think so.
But yeah, good job, Saval. It was really, really good. Really good job for Jill Saval here. Really fantastic. And yeah, so Denise has the doctor at gunpoint, and Evie's surprisingly very calm here.
Yeah, she doesn't really react that much. Other than telling Denise, like, well, your plan's crazy, but I guess it's working.
Shut up. I'm feeling bossy and I like it.
All right, we're gonna need a wheelchair. We're gonna weaken Bernie's this shit. Gotta take him to a party? Like, no. We have to sneak him out of here
in a wheelchair. And drive him around town.
Yes, and I love how Evie is just like, it's like, oh well, here, I don't know where you got my gun anyway. It's like, oh, sorry. It's like, it's not loaded anyway. What? It's like, well, I was going to try and talk my way out of it, but your way seemed to work. I love how Evie has really abandoned any kind of rule of law here.
Yeah.
Of just like, you know what? Whatever gets me out of the situation. I'm the only authority figure in the town anyway.
Right.
So who's
going to arrest me?
Yeah, who's the doctor going to go to anyway? I'm the only effective cop in this town.
Who is he going to go to? Leon?
Oh boy, Leon.
Because then we go to Leon.
Yep. And
yes, Leon running the speedometer against the liquid in the straw is great. And then laughing. They don't show the number, but he just laughs.
Well, oh man.
And then them cruising past. I guess their true Weekend at Bernie's moment with them cruising past. I love whatever kind of vague era the show is set in. Just the LTD, like, boxy cruiser is just awesome. But yeah, when they roll by and they have to say something Stan-like, I think it's like, women shouldn't go shopping.
Yeah, it's like, I hate when women go shopping.
Like, shopping, that's what it is. And Leon just says, amen, brother.
I oh boy. I love like the moment where he's checking the speedometer with the straw, or he's checking the straw, like how fast he's drinking the liquid. Dana Gould, when I was at New York Comic Con for the panel for Stan, that was one of the stories he mentioned from Nate Mooney, because what he said was like, yeah, sometimes Nate Mooney will do stuff and I won't catch it until I'm later in the editing bay. Because I'm so busy doing other stuff. So when I was
noticed that he did that, yeah.
So when he was editing it together, he said he laughed for a good couple of minutes because he never saw Nate do the thing with the speedometer. He never saw it, and he was like, "Oh my god, that's hilarious!" Like,
it makes that moment. It really does.
So yeah, really good physical comedy here from Nate Mooney. Real spot on there for you guy, and. Yeah, it's the nurse back in the evil hospital realm. She has grabbed the girl out of a poorly lit hallway where Stan and the little girl were trying to traverse down here in order to get to the basement. And Stan runs after her into a dark room. he ends up finding the girl, and the girl here is really afraid. She's huddled up against each other. She says she doesn't want to be like them. Is like they're gonna make her like them is what she's afraid of. And I love Stan's response here is like, oh, they're gonna have a hard time sewing with their heads shoved firmly up there. Poopers? Like, sorry, it's been a long time since I've talked to a kid.
And like, it's such a softening of like, you can, it's a warm and really great moment for Stan, still done funny. But you can feel him softening of like, man, it's not just been a long time since he's talked to a kid. It's been a long time since he cared about watching what he said.
And yeah, the nurse Bamford shows up and offers him a deal, kind of like gives him a rundown. Is like, well, you both can't leave, but I'll tell you what, we let the girl leave as long as you stay. And he's like, all right, fine, do it. And she's like, well, nah, you have to ask. And I love this response from here. He's just like, oh, come on. Even in hell, you women can't take yes for an answer. Yes already. God damn. And they're asking him like, well, why would Stan
sacrifice himself for a stranger he doesn't know?
Yes. So, and his answer is very, very revealing. As far as where Stan's headspace has been at for this whole season. Because he answers, someone sacrificed their life for me, and that is a heavy burden. And so it's hard for him to sit back and watch another person suffer when he could do what Claire did for him and save another person's soul or save someone else. And
you pay it forward?
Like pay. Well, I don't know, Les. That if that was an expression, I guess.
I love that exchange.
Yes, it was. It was a movie. Like, what?
No. Just it's like the tire thing. Like, just Stan's denial of like, if that was a saying, sure.
So this actually makes a lot of sense to me as far as Stan's motivation for this entire season, where he has been willing to make the deal with Horace.
Even though it doesn't seem like a good deal.
Well, the thing is that I think Stan really can't deal with Claire being gone. I think he could kind of deal with it when it was a random accident, or what he thought was a random thing, and it was out of his control. But when it was in season 2's ending, where she sacrifices herself for him, that level of responsibility for his wife's death sits with him in a way where I don't think he can really he can't deal with it in the normal Stan way of like ignoring it and having it go away after a while.
And it really comes to a head even more so next episode in the finale.
Yes.
No spoilers, but you kind of see the depth of his guilt, and what he feels he owes to the town and to everyone. And
I think it really is coming back to Stan is the guy that always makes the wrong decision, and he's sick of being that guy. And he wants to try and do something right before he checks out. And he figures that the only thing he can really do is be as self-sacrificing as Claire was in order to help save this little girl and or others in the town. And that's where he is trying his best here. Also, I mean, honestly, I don't want to get too dark here, but I also think that he kind of just wants it to be over.
Well, he's been kind of doing a little bit of that throughout this whole entire season, of just kind of showing that he's sick of all of this.
Yeah. So he wants the Eccles thing done. He wants the demon stuff done. He just wants it just fucking done and over with. And I think if he loses his soul or his life in that process, I think he's okay with that. In fact, I think he might even prefer it that way, honestly, considering some of his actions in this and the finale. So this was a really heavy moment for me. I was really like, oh boy, this is where you've been at this entire season. That is heavy.
A little sad.
Heavy. Yeah. But yeah, it turns out that the nurse has been Gerard Duquette the whole time.
And the little girl is Horace.
So this was all a test for Stan, and not sure exactly what they were testing. I guess testing his resolve and whether or not, like, I guess maybe the vessel they needs to meet certain requirements as far as willingness to be possessed, I think.
Yeah.
And I think what might have fucked up with Judy is that Judy wanted to be possessed, but she had stuff to lose in her life.
That's the thing, like, because it's something about the detachment, because like Duquette basically explains to Stan that, you know, the reason you should be disconnected from everybody is that you're going to bring them harm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think that's where when they finally learn that he's willing to go this far to bring this stuff to an end in order to, you know, how far he's willing to push other people away, then they're like, okay, yeah, Stan is prime soul real estate, and we should definitely move on it while the
getting good.
Yeah, while the getting's good, and before the market turns on us, before that goddamn Barrett undercuts us, and yeah, the girls have gotten Stan back to the house after their weekend at Bernie's shenanigans, and they are trying to cast a spell. They got the pentagram drawn on the floor and everything.
Yep.
Yeah, and they are, you know, trying to read the dead language. Like, are you sure you're saying it right? No, I'm not sure I'm reading the goddamn dead language
Am I
right.
pronouncing the dead language correctly?
Yeah.
No, I don't know if I am. Yeah. But I love their chanting and the pulling away of Stan from trying to make the deal with Horace when he's on board. And they're back and forth. I like Denise kind of hearing this echo of Stan telling them to fuck off, basically.
Yeah, and it's great. I like this too because they actually find out a spell that will reverse it. Like then they actually find another workaround rather than, say, stumbling upon it or, you know.
Yeah, no, they think it through. Like, hey, I saw a thing of astral projection. Is that basically what this is? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So finally using Claire's room to a pretty good effect here.
Which is funny because it even does surprise Stan because, like, Duquette hears, like, them chanting. He's like, we gotta hurry up and make this deal or they're gonna, you know, take you back. And Stan's reaction is just like, nah, they're largely clueless without me. It's fine.
I wouldn't worry about it.
Yeah, everybody's kind of shocked this is working. But yeah, the Claire's room's finally turning into, like, a you know, library for the Scooby Gang.
I do like the Duquette is treating this as like a used car salesman too, of like, oh, this deal, you won't be able to have it again or whatever. And I'm like, nah, you'd find a way to offer him this again since this seems like something you really want to do.
Right.
He's doing like the whole old salesman thing of like, it's selling him a bill of goods in order to sweeten the deal. Like, oh, your sacrifice will save others the same way your wife's sacrifice did. Yeah. And at that point, I knew he was selling Stan a bill of goods here, and I was like, "Oh, Stan, you shouldn't be listening to this guy. Mm-hmm. He's willing to say anything to seal the deal because he for whatever reason he hates Eccles.
He has his own beef.
He seems to hate Eccles even as much as them, or even more than them. I'm not sure how.
I don't know what Eccles did to him.
Feels personal.
We don't know yet. Something fourth season-y.
This seems personal to me. In a big way. So, yeah, they start to chant. The chanting starts to work. They're dragging Stan back. He's trying to accept Horace's deal before he goes. It's up in the air as whether or not that the deal has gone through or not. But he seems to have come back. But he isn't breathing for a little bit. Evie gets very emotional. I suppose I should mention Denise tries to stop them too, as when she heard Stan's
saying no,
plea for them to stop. And Evie is distraught. She's even crying a little bit. And suddenly Stan does wake up, where he's like, "What the hell did you do to my floor?" Like, he's back.
And this right here is why you get Janet Varney for your comedic roles, is because when you need a suddenly quiet moment where you can see her sitting there honestly feeling glad that Stan's alive, like in just her face and body language, you can feel Evie's real concern over Stan almost being dead and being alive now, even as she plays it off or whatever. Like, these are the moments that make me go, yes, I'm glad Janet Varney's in the lead of a show. Mm-hmm. This is amazing.
Well, between this, her work on You're the Worst, and her new series Fortune Rookie, I've really discovered, like, man, Janet Varney is just super good.
Yeah.
Like, she's just a really talented, not only comedian, but just straight actress.
Just actress.
Yeah. Like, we always think of her as I always think of her as her podcast. She's a great interviewer. And we always think of her like how funny, like with her sketch comedy and stuff, but she really has the acting chops to back up the John C. McGinley in these scenes here. Mm-hmm. And
yeah, it's that both of them have it and bring it. Yeah. The casting in the show is so thoroughly great. But I'm constantly impressed, usually every episode, with something that Varney does and something McGinley does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if you haven't checked out her other series on IFC, Fortune Rookie, it's really fun, where Janet plays herself, but an alternate version of herself that has quit acting to become a psychic. And she even has, like, there's even a special guest spot by James Roday from Psych, where it's like, "You're stealing my fake psychic bullshit. How dare you, Varney?" And it's really fun. It's a kind of a treatise on the fakeness of Hollywood and the self-importance of living in Hollywood and trying to make it there as an actor, which is pretty fun. Stan makes a crack about what are you reading, Bridget Jones' diary or something, and things seem to go back.
Bridget Jones put out a new diary.
Yeah. So things have seemed to have gone back to normal. And Evie and Denise tell him the story of them sneaking him out of the hospital, which he immediately goes, "Oh, Weekend at Bernie's." Yeah, oh my God.
It's one of the first times they actually agree on a reference.
Indeed.
Right.
And he's like, "Yeah, well, I'm, well, I guess you guys had a more interesting weekend than me. I'm gonna go take a piss." Or what does he say? Pop a squirt.
Yeah.
Which is really gross.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm glad he's back and peeing. And when Stan opens his door, he goes to his room, he opens the door. I like this because we see Horace in the background of the shot. And then we see Stan's eyes glow. And we realize that they were a little too late to save him from the devil's bargain. And Horace has infected or inspirited Stan.
But hey, he's not having a prostate flare-up.
Hey.
Oh, yeah, there's that.
Benefits.
So, yeah, that is where the episode leaves off. Quite the cliffhanger
for the finale.
Yeah.
After two spectacular standalone, I mean, like, almost perfectly self-contained, Nubbins and then Vampire Creek. I mean, there's been so many kind of standalones this season. It dropped right back into the mythology just seamlessly. Mm-hmm. And this episode, like, really sets up what I love the season finale. What I'm hoping is not the series finale, but these two episodes back to back are just wonderful.
Yeah, and it was a really solid episode, really good in intense storytelling, creepy visuals. Loved the Dr. Cox references.
Yeah, I got a Scrubs reference. The crazy face on Maria Bamford's nurse is just wonderful, wonderful makeup effects, and kind of shows also, again, like we talked at the start, the Horace design is just sick.
Yes. Oh, so badass. But
Where the hell do they even get pull tab beers? I want to know.
They
For
had
real,
to
where
order.
are they finding these beers? That's the other thing besides the car. Like, of making me unable to place exactly what time period this is, because Stan, like, fully peels pull tabs off, and those went out with, like, my birth.
Mm-hmm.
I actually talked to Molly Coffee, and she said they had to order them special, because the fake labels they make for stump beer, they don't account for the little curved edges.
The bevel at the top and bottom of the can?
That are there, the current modern cans now, so they have to go back and get older version or older type cans, or there's a certain can.
It works great, because it gives like a soup can,
And yeah, really good episode. I think there's only one thing we have left to do, and that's most vile person. Who's winning the MVP this week? Because I
think it goes to the doctor.
Drinkwater because Drinkwater only has the one scene where he just kind of innocuous.
Honestly, he's been on an uptick. Leon's been killing it lately.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the doctor, just for like, no man, independent of all of the supernatural, paranormal stuff happened in this episode, you were just a horrifically bad doctor. Like, yesterday and the next day, he killed like shitloads of patients.
Oh yeah.
Like, outside of the, Stan's one coma, like, that guy came to work all the rest of the week, too.
I did like how we saw Leon in the one scene we saw Leon in. He's drinking fucking like a fruity drink with a crazy straw outside on a chair. It's like he's on vacation from being the most incompetent person in the world. Like, it's like, the doctor's got that covered this episode. So I'm going to take a break and I'm just going to... Yeah, take it easy. Gonna take my 5. So we're gonna give it to Dr. Barlow gets the MVP for this episode, guys. And join us next time for the final episode of season 3.
Dun dun dun.
Oh my goodness, the finale. Yes, very exciting. But before we get to that, Les, would you like to tell the people where they can find you and some of your content?
You can find some of my content over on That's My Entertainment, as well as the TV Dudes, and we'll have Good Die Young coming back here pretty soon.
Yeah, absolutely.
The TVDudes.com, That's My Entertainment.com, and the GoodDieYoungTV.com.
Fantastic. All great shows that I highly recommend you listen to. And of course, you can always find us at any of our social media at Pod Against Evil on Twitter or Instagram. Pod Against Evil on Facebook, or you can always email us at podagainstevil@gmail.com to ask us all about your Stan questions, or if you have any burning theories or stuff we missed. We would love to hear from you guys. But with that out of the way, I think we can call it for this week, guys. And
I should correct. It's that'smye.com. That's my entertainment site.
Okay. That's my E.
I was like, I heard it when I came out of my mouth. I was like, wait, that's going to be wrong. All right, that's my E.com. Yep.
Of course. Well, that's it for us, guys. And until next time, may the owls abide. See you later, Stan fans.